Among the crew are the first woman, first person of color.
Wait, did you catch that? A Supreme Court justice just suggested being on the soil for a second equals allegiance. This admission is sending shockwaves through the legal world. You need to see how this changes everything for the border.
Color and first Canadian on a lunar mission, Jonathan. So there's a lot of firsts happening here, and all 4 astronauts will represent the best of humanity as they explore the benefit of all. That is the words of the director of NASA's Johnson Space Center. And here they are in a magical photo op. Jonathan, tell us a little bit more about these astronauts.
Really hope that...
Yeah, so Victor Glover, who is the pilot on this mission, and he actually had some words on that while he acknowledged that he will be the first.
Look at the logic being used here, because it is absolutely wild. Justice Jackson is basically arguing that allegiance isn't about loyalty to a country or being a citizen, but just the fact that you're physically standing there. Think about the implications of that for a second. If local allegiance is just, I'm here so you can arrest me if I steal a wallet, then the entire traditional definition of national citizenship just gets tossed out the window. It's a massive shift in how the 14th Amendment has been interpreted for over a century. You can see the other justices probably reaching for their law books after that one. This isn't just a small legal tweak. It's a fundamental rewrite of what it means to belong to a nation. If presence equals allegiance, then the word has lost its meaning. It's like saying a tourist has the same stake in the country as a multi-generational family. This admission is exactly what's fueling the fire in the current birthright citizenship debate.
Final preparations are underway for the historic launch of NASA's Artemis II mission, the first crewed trip toward the moon in more than 50.
Did you hear that plane ride argument? John Sauer is pointing out a reality that the 19th century framers couldn't even imagine. We live in a world where 8 billion people are literally one flight away from creating a U.S. citizen. The court is grappling with whether a constitution written in the age of horse and buggy can handle the volume of modern global travel. Look at how the tone shifts when they realize the sheer scale of the potential abuse. It's not just about 1 or 2 cases anymore. It's about a systematic gaming of the birthright system that has turned into a multi-million-dollar industry. When you have companies specifically set up to fly people in for birth tourism, the original intent of the law is being stretched to its absolute breaking point. The justices are trying to figure out if there's a limit to this, or if the open door is legally permanent regardless of the circumstances. It's high stakes because a ruling here could reshape immigration for the next 50 years.
Superpower. I mean, the cost of this is minuscule when it compared to the benefits of it. And quite frankly, one of the things that I'm shocked about that's been different about this, in addition to just the sheer excellence of our military operation, is how many people are talking about this like it's a disaster. If you look at the covers of the last 3 covers of The Economist. It's like, people are it's almost like they're cheering for defeat.
Check out how the media is framing the Artemis II mission. Instead of talking about the incredible engineering or the fact that we're going back to the moon after 50 years, the headlines are obsessed with skin color. It's a complete shift from the Apollo era. Even the pilot, Victor Glover, is trying to pull the conversation back to human history and the story of humanity, but the reporters just won't let it go. It's like they're trying to force a political narrative onto a scientific milestone. If you look at the astronauts themselves, they look focused on not dying in deep space, while the media is focused on checking boxes. It's a weird disconnect. We're watching a historic journey to the lunar surface, yet the discussion feels grounded in 2024 identity politics. It makes you wonder if we've lost the ability to just celebrate a massive achievement for our species without filtering it through a social lens first. Glover's response was actually pretty classy, trying to remind everyone that this belongs to all of us.
you do agree that that has no impact on the legal analysis before us?
I think it's, I'd quote what Justice Scalia said in his Hamdan dissent, where their interpretation has these implications that could not possibly have been approved by the 19th century framers of this amendment. I think that shows that they've made a mess, their interpretation has made a mess of the provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
It is, and as Justice Scalia said, I think in the case that Justice Alito was referring to, you've got a constitutional provision that addresses certain evils, and it should be extended to reasonably comparable evils. He said that about statutory interpretation. I think the same principle applies here, and I think we quote that in our brief.
Thank you. Justice Thomas, anything further?
Pay attention to this legal history being laid out. Norm Eisen is trying to build a bridge from ancient Anglo-American law to the current crisis, but he's ignoring how much the world has changed. He's leaning hard on the 1898 Wong Kim Ark case, but back then, you didn't have birth tourism packages being sold on the internet. It's a classic case of using old precedents to justify a completely new problem. Look at the expert friend energy here. He's trying to make it sound like an open and shut case, but if it were that simple, the Supreme Court wouldn't be hearing arguments on it right now. The reality is that the ancient tradition he's talking about was never intended to be a loophole for people who have zero intention of staying or contributing to the country. It's a fascinating look at how lawyers try to use history to freeze a policy in place, even when the practical reality on the ground is screaming for an update. These cases and missions are defining our future. Which side of the citizenship debate are you on? Drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories the mainstream media won't touch.